So, hi Christian, my name is Ilya Stechkin from ENQ, and frankly speaking, we were deeply surprised to see your name in the schedule of the conference. You told me that that's not your first time, but even though the Wall Street Journal is very well-known brand, and why you, as an expert of the finance market, venture capital, and stuff like this, why you are so deeply involved in the startup story?
First of all, I have to say that I'm working most of the time for Dow Jones Newswires. It's the news agency of News Corp, and the Wall Street Journal is our flagship. So I'm a reporter for the energy transition and technology too. That's right. And the funny thing is that we are neighbors. Our office in Berlin and the Startup Association. So that's why I know the guys quite well. And they came over and asked me, could you moderate a panel? And I said, yes, I can. And it's the second time, and it's always a pleasure.
So you said that was a pleasure. What was the most... I saw that you were probably keeping the distance during the panel, and the panelists were active enough, so probably you can help us to decide which pitch was the most impressive for you.
Oh, I don't want to judge it. I think Johannes, the founder of Get Your Guide, he has the most experience, but the other approaches are very competitive and successful too. So I don't want to make this is the first place or second place or third place. So I kept the distance because that's my journalistical approach.
Ethical approach.
Ethical code. As a journalist, it's never good to be a friend with somebody from a company. You have to be professional.
Okay, let's take the journalistical approach. And would you please tell us, if you probably know as a neighbor, what is the biggest challenge for startups in Germany?
The biggest challenge, I think that's what they say, is to get funding. In Germany, we are very good at funding the early level during the seed time, the early days, but we have problems to channel more capital for the growth period.
In a level B.
Yeah, in the level B, right. Things are getting better, but still in comparison to the US or Israel, we are weaker.
That's probably because Germans are a little bit too conservative.
That's right. Germans are very conservative. They prefer saving accounts, but still we get a lot of money in family offices from rich German families. The state does quite well, gives money, and I think we have to get a cultural shift to be more risky and put more money in startups.
That's true. So thank you very much. And one more thing. We all know that today just the electoral process finished here in Germany, and we heard today the presentation about the voting service related to the political activities. So the question is, how I think if it is really possible to scale such a service outside the Germany first, and to keep the independence for a long period of time the second.
I think you should ask that Janina.
Definitely I will, but you know that the external position is also important to know.
Yeah, I think I don't know the market for opinion research in the US. They want to go to the US. But here in Germany, it was a very conservative business model. They still use fixed lines for doing their calls, though they are not up to date. And the thing CIVE did was to put this whole opinion research in the modern age, to use digital technology, use the internet. And I don't know how the US market is working, but if the US market still works with fixed line calls, then they have a chance to be successful in the US.
See, I'm probably more concerned about the situations like we saw with Cambridge Analytica, of course. Because you see, they are, why I'm asking you before asking Janina, probably I'm wrong, but I realized that she founded it with, in a seed level with private banking investments.
No, public funding.
Public funding.
Public banks.
By the way, it means that to grow, she need to attract more investments from the venture capital. And from my perspective, that will be the challenge to find if she want to go with the venture capital, which is definitely closely related with the scope of political interests. And the second is the crowdfunding model, which is not so easy.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot answer this question. You really have to ask her. I don't know which investors she has or is trying to attract. I cannot tell you.
Yeah, so fine. And last but not the least, during the session, during the panel, we saw two different positions, the opposition, I should say, from the family perspective. Mm-hmm. Janina didn't say nothing for her loved ones about her initiative, and another startup was supported by the family at the very beginning. What is your personal vision of the family role in a startup culture and a startup funding and building?
I mean, a lot of founders in Germany rely on friends, family, grandparents, etc. Because it's sometimes it's hard to get a loan, for instance, or to find a business angel giving the first money. So in a more developed ecosystem, it should not be the role of the family to finance a startup. That's
probably not about only the finance, but also about the emotional support, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you have parents who think it's a good idea and you're gonna be the next startup superstar, then why not? People are free to put their money where they want it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.